Hi, it's Colin Cowherd. I started The Volume to bring you some of the most authentic voices in sports. While you're here, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks. All right, Matt Mosley joining us from Cowboys Stadium. Let's start with the Dak play. What's the explanation? You just talked Jerry Jones, players. What was the mood like? What were they saying about that mess at the end?
Yeah, they thought, Colin, that they were going to get time. In fact, they thought they were going to put time back on it to get a final play. And Dak even bumped into the umpire at some point. I think the play, what they wanted to happen there is Dak to immediately hand the ball. That didn't really happen. You see players sometimes, throw the ball back to get it spotted in time. It took too long. They felt like that time should have been plenty of time to get the play off. But what they're basically saying, and McCarthy was upset with the officiating. He really thought he was going to get a chance to run that play there. But if you were watching it live, as I was, and you were watching it on TV, and the thing was, as it was going down, it obviously was 0. So they felt like it was the officials' fault for not getting them set and letting them go in time. So I know you haven't heard anything about any poor officiating last week or so in the NFL. And so there are claims of that now here in Arlington, Texas.
But it is hard. First of all, I don't know why Dak would run. Jimmy G similarly didn't let Trent Williams get set on a 4th and inches, which is just remedial quarterbacking, high school stuff. Let your tackle get set. If he does, the game's over and Dallas never gets it back. So, and I thought Dak choosing to run, and I'll criticize Jimmy G. Dude, you got 50 starts in the NFL. Come on, you're not a rookie. If you're Mac Jones in that spot, I get it. But I thought Dak choosing to run, I thought it was a really poor decision, was it not?
I guess in his mind, they had enough time, and it got them in a position where they had a legit shot at the end zone. And before that play, it was more of a Hail Mary. They could run 5 wides, and if they had gotten the thing clocked, you at least have a shot. Is it a great shot? No, but it's a shot. So I was surprised to see it. In real time, I'm like, what is he doing? Because the timeout situation, and you're like, he can't be doing that. And you can't. Here's the thing: knowing how these officials have been, you can't really put a game in their hands. And if you're going to do that, everything has to go perfectly. You got to get the ball to the official. So, but again, think about how lucky they were even to have a shot at the end. Think about all the different crazy things that you talked about one play. Think about all the things that had to happen. And plus, this is the Cowboys. This is the Cowboys. They're down 23-7. The game's over. Fort Niners fans are celebrating, and then they come back and they give their fans false hope. This is what they do. What was the game earlier this season when they played a pretty good team and got beat here 25-22? They're down 22-7. Yeah, to Arizona. They're down 22-7. This game, they're down 23-7. It's the same thing. It's like, oh my gosh, look at the comeback. Well, but when it really matters at the beginning of the game, they're just flat. And McCarthy, I just talked to McCarthy. We just got to visit with him, and he said something along the lines of, "Yeah, guys, I thought by the halftime we kind of settled in a little bit. We'd settled into this game." Can you imagine being a Cowboys fan and hearing this mess?
Well, Kellen Moore is going to be a hot coordinator on the market. Jerry Jones is aware of that. Jerry said after the game, he had, Mike McCarthy, I read, said no indication he'd be replaced. And cooler heads generally prevail. Jerry has a history of giving coaches an extra year. Jason Garrett multiple times was on the hot seat. So I don't think McCarthy's going to get fired. Do you see a scenario in which Kellen Moore gets an offer, even if it's a high-end coordinator offer, and bolts, and Jerry goes, okay, I can't lose my next head coach? Is there any scenario McCarthy and his future is foiled in Dallas?
Well, I think it might be more Quinn before Moore. First of all, if you watch the play calling today, are people still falling all over themselves to hire Kellen? I think Quinn really has Jerry's attention. So I think there's some thought they'll be able to keep one of them. I just don't think this goes all the way back to Chan Gailey. Jerry's told me many times, well, I felt I made the wrong decision. I gave up on Chan. They went to the playoffs one year. I think they had a winning record. Maybe they were 9-7 or something like that. They go to the playoffs and he fires Chan. And he's always felt bad about that. And so I don't think he has the stomach for firing a 12-6 coach. But have you ever seen a more fraudulent 12-6? Like in NFL history? I mean, 6 of them are against the NFC East. And you saw the other supposed alleged decent team in the NFC East today just get killed. So that's how they get 6 wins every year.
Yeah, Randy Gregory had a bonehead play in this game. I mean, again, Jimmy G did. Dak, I have questions. Mike McCarthy. You know, there's been this sort of thought that, because I think the Cowboys have to get smarter. I don't think they have to get necessarily better. I do think they have to attack the offensive line in the draft. And I think that, you know, this league's turning into such a high-volume scoring league. I think they could use another corner and a safety. Do you think there are pressing needs personnel-wise in, for instance, free agency?
Well, I think they got to make a decision about Zeke Elliott. I mean, they just went through a whole year where he was banged up. Did you see the 2 running games today? San Francisco they did what they always do. They ran for like 160, 170 yards. They just lined up and did what they needed to do. And the Cowboys, last I looked, ran for like 60. I mean, Dak would have added some to it at the very end of the game. But for the most part, they ran for 70, 75 yards. Okay, so they're not constructed to be a running team anymore. They were built for this a few years ago when Zeke was good. So I don't know if Pollard's the total answer. He's good. He's a good player. And I don't think he's a feature I don't think he's a bell cow type guy. But I think you got to think about moving on from Zeke Elliott. And so I think that'll become a pretty big story.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I like their personnel. Again, I think they have to attack the offensive line in the draft. It's still ranked as a top 5 offensive line. Zach Martin is still as good as anybody in this league at his position. There's a couple of young offensive linemen I like. The other thing, and it's no longer an elephant in a room, it is discussed after every bad Dak performance, is this massive contract. So there's an argument to be made, Matt. They're hamstrung. Now, they can move off Amari Cooper at their own peril. Amari has been such a elevator of Dak's overall performance. So it's an interesting situation you're in. You're paying like Tyron Smith a lot of money. You're paying Zeke money. You're paying Amari Cooper money. In a perfect world, you could move off them. But I have data that suggests Dak's not the same player without Tyron at left tackle or Zeke or Amari. So to me, this was an important year because those guys that have wear on the tires, you're getting to a point now, you got to move off a couple of them, right? Because you're going to have to pay some of your other players here. Like I feel like they're in a little bit of a quandary here financially, no?
Well, just think about their 2, like the defensive players that came onto the scene. Diggs and Micah are fine. One's in the second year, one's a rookie, so that's not an enormous worry there. You've got DeMarcus Ware under contract. Gregory's an interesting one. I mean, I think he feels a lot of loyalty to the Cowboys, but they've got to decide what to do with him. And then if you think about it, they have a 3rd wide receiver issue because they have Michael Gallup, who's a really good player, but might get paid somewhere. I don't know. He's been hurt. And then Cedric Wilson's a pretty good player. But, I mean, it really comes down. You talk about personnel. I agree with you that you need to surround Dak. But can't we agree he was surrounded with pretty good personnel this year? And at times, he just went in the tank. And he wasn't great today. He wasn't great. I mean, think about it. He threw behind. He had Cedric Wilson on one play. They ended up going down there, I think, scored on this drive. But he had a horrible throw behind him. He has the horrible interception to that number 24 over there, Daquan, and that was a bad one. And he just, I mean, I just don't. It's really, really bad how streaky he is. And we're wondering, okay, like who are the 49ers? What's their future? What are they going to do with Jimmy G? What will they do with Lance? All that kind of stuff. Like, are we after watching that today? Are you just that convinced that Dak's that far ahead of Jimmy? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Yeah.
No. I mean, listen, Jimmy is not the future of the Niners, and Jimmy had a horrible throw today. And Dak had a horribly egregious decision, in my opinion, with 14 seconds left to run. But the gap between them, I've said this before, Dak is Kirk Cousins with fewer haters. There's an absolute ceiling. There's a clear ceiling with Dak. Do most Cowboy fans believe that? You do to Cowboy fans.
I think right now they're so upset. They're kind of blaming everybody. What the Cowboys, though, and even their fandom can buy, I can't stomach this stuff, but all these records and numbers. What happens at the end of the year, everybody just kind of goes, oh, man, this is one of the best offenses in the NFL. Oh, look at all these Pro Bowl players. Look at the All-Pro. I've been watching it for years. And it's just like, Dak had a great year. I mean, if you look at his numbers, it's like 37 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. I mean, whether it was Troy, Romo, whoever, you take that season, usually. But then when you start looking at how it played out, I mean, I used to have to do this with Tony a little bit. He'd go 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And it was like, oh, he's had a great season. It didn't play out like that. You can't just look at those numbers. So I'm with you. And I think it's really, I mean, I think what we'll find out, and we won't find out tonight, but somebody's going to leak a story. Let's hope they do it on the volume. And they're going to say, Dak was playing with a torn whatever, okay? Had a torn shoulder muscle. And so we may get that one, okay? Because that then goes, well, wow, he put up these great numbers even though he was playing through all this, or even though his ankle wasn't quite right. We'll get something like that because once you pay a guy $40 million a year, like the one they've got to protect him at all costs. So Jerry and McCarthy can make evaluations that are disconnected from what we see. Their evaluations are just kind of out somewhere else. And what they do is, to make themselves feel better about it, they think, oh my gosh, this guy's such a leader. Oh, he's a leader of men, which is just like, I don't know where this came from. It's like maybe one of those mega churches out in California. But he did not have a great season. It was a very uneven season. And so he is part of the problem. He could also be part of the solution. But right now, I don't think you can feel good about the way things ended for Dak at all.
Well, they went 6-0 against the NFC East, and including the Niners loss, 6-6 against everybody else. They were blown out at home by Denver, beaten by the Niners at home, beaten by Arizona at home. So we can say what we want. Outside of easily the worst division in football, they are a 500 team. And with that level of talent, that's not good enough.